All right, we are live. So welcome wherever you are, morning, evening, afternoon, to another Next Level Coaching Call.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, how's everybody doing this morning?
Fantastic.
Good.
Awesome. All right.
Doing great.
Well, I think this is going to probably end up being a 2 or 3 part little series. Speaking with Sheila over the weekend, over text, it's been a while since we talked about going after for sale by owners. And so we're going to talk a little bit of low hanging fruit. So today we're going to go into a little bit of mindset on where to find for sale by owners, some of the basic statistics, and why this should be a part of everybody's business. I know we talk a lot about, you should have at least 4 to 5 different pillars of what I call, systems, I guess, of predictable income. And for sale by owners and expireds, I think should be one of those that you should get set up into your business pretty quickly. I know all of us on here have mastered for sale by owners and expireds. I know Sheila's the rock star when it comes to expired. So that's going to be probably in about 3 weeks. We're going to hit part 1 of for sale by owners today. So, first starting off on, why for sale by owners. I'll go over some stats and you guys jump in. I know, Shannon, you're rocking for sale by owners, but so statistics, why for sale by owners? Well, according to National Association of Realtors, NAR, they do a study every 2 years on, the habits of buyers and sellers. And in that, they include for sale by owners. Well, they found that, and this is nationwide, so stats are going to be a little different for, maybe in your area. But nationwide, statistically, 94% of all for sale by owners will end up listing with a real estate agent. Okay. So with that being said, they're low-hanging fruit. They try it for themselves, but 94% of them will end up listing with the real estate agent. Now, the other, there's 6% left. Out of those 6%, half of those they consider for sale by owner, but they actually never even go onto the market, right? They're considered for sale by owner, but they already know somebody they're going to sell to. So they sell to, a family member, a neighbor, a friend. So it never actually hits the market, right? So, that takes out half of that. So there's a huge percentage of for sale by owners that are going to end up listing with us. Now, out of all those, the average time that they spend on the market as a for sale by owner before they list is 8 weeks, right? From start to finish, that's national average, 8 weeks. So our whole goal is to get in there, become their friend, become somebody they like, and, the one that stays in communication with them for that 8-week period. Now, in your part of the country, it may be 4 weeks or it may be 12 weeks, right? You need to kind of do a little bit of research and see what that is, because your amount of follow-up or speed of follow-up is going to depend on how quickly they're listing. If they're listing in 4 weeks, you're maybe calling them twice a week during that 4 weeks, compared to somebody who's doing it every 8 weeks where you're contacting them maybe once a week, right? One more statistic, and then I'll let Shannon talk a little bit, is as real estate agents, here's what the average real estate agent who go after for sale by owners, okay? A for sale by owner comes on the market, or you see the sign in the yard, and they call them week 1, right? And let's say out of all those agents, 50% of agents do not call them a second time, right? They call them that first week. They get maybe a no, or I'm not working with agents, or they get, an objection, and they never call them again. 50% of agents, right? Out of the 50% that are left, 95% of those only contact them a second time and never follow up after 2 times, okay? So that's why if you create a great system with for sale by owners where you have it in your calendar to call them and communicate with them and send them direct mail every single week for 8 weeks, and you stick to that, you're going to be the one that lists their property, okay? Guarantee you follow this system, and after an 8-week period, because it does take that ramp-up period before they start listing, right? If you start today, in 8 weeks, you'll start listing for sale by owners. You will start listing 1 a week. I mean, so this is a system to get you 50 listings a year if you follow the system, right? Shannon, you agree with that? What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, here's the thing, guys. If you want to remember anything about for sale by owners, remember these words: last man standing. Last man standing. If you're the last one that has built a rapport with them, and you're the last one to be in contact with them, when they're ready, they're going to call you. Plain and simple. That's just how it works. And if you use this system wisely, and the things that I do and the things that Matt does, I was able to list 38 for sale by owners in 1 year and get them all sold. Okay, now that's a pretty incredible number. And the way that I did that is because I built a rapport with them, and then I actually had those for sale by owners responding to me weekly. When I would call them, they would have a list of buyers' names that came through their house that were not interested in their house that I could call and work as a buyer. Now, you have to build a rapport with them to be able to do that. But if you do it right, I'm telling you right now, it will work.
Yep, definitely. So let's jump into a couple things that I want to make sure we get done on this call is having the right mindset of going in for sale by owners, where to find all the for sale by owners, and maybe the first scripts on setting up the first appointment with them. And then we'll get into next week on, follow up other, and more in depth into the system. So first of all, mindset. I think this is huge. Here's me personally, and then you guys can talk about what you do. For me, it is, you truly have to be willing to help them sell their house on their own with you providing enough information to do that, right? If you go in with the mindset, and I actually set a goal, I did this a couple years ago, and it dramatically increased my conversion rate. My goal is to sell 2 for sale by owners every quarter without getting paid at all, right? So without getting paid a dime. I just want to provide enough information. I want to give enough coming from generosity. And if I can help 2 for sale by owners sell their house without getting paid, now that doesn't mean that I'm going to go in and just list one for free, but hopefully that I will just give them enough value and enough information throughout an 8-week process that they will actually sell it themselves, and don't need me with my help. So I think if you go in with that mindset, it gets rid of what we call commission breath, right? Otherwise, you're just going in, and if you're just getting started and showing up, and you're, they want to talk about, well, what will you do? And you jump right into how great of an agent you are. Boom, commission breath. You just lost them. So it's about having the right mindset, truly wanting to help them out, and then going in with an open mind, right? So, and my whole goal is just to build. I just want them to like me, right? Mm-hmm. Shannon, do you agree? Sheila?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about with most agents, or a lot of agents, when you look at the stats of the number of sales people do, most agents are in a hurry. They're looking for fast money. They're looking for quick turnaround. And this is a completely different thing.
Right.
So you have to, what Matt said about having a different mindset is very, very crucial with this, because you really have to come from the heart of a giver and the heart of contribution with this system. This is and remember everybody, this is us trying to help you guys understand about building your business is building different legs of lead sources, different legs of marketing. And so this is one. So if you decide to do this one, what Shannon and Matt are saying is that you have to come at it at a completely different mindset than you
Oh, froze up there, Sheila.
Yeah. And I would, and to add to that, I would say that ultimately, for sale by owners, don't think that they need a real estate agent. And that's why we're coming at this from a completely different mindset. So if you're coming from a place of giving, trying to help, and providing information, it shows that you don't have commission breath, and you're just trying to help. And your relationship building is what you're doing. And you can't build a relationship with one phone call. It takes weeks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and we really need to, obviously now, I mean, we've kind of talked about, the symmetric, so to speak, if you will, of, what the importance of a for sale by owner and the mindset of it. But I do believe that, again, if you don't have that heart of a giver, that heart of a servant mentality, guys, you're going to lose them every single time.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all mindset. You got to come from a place of contribution, and I'm here to help you.
And realize in this,
not say it, you've got to show it.
Right. And in realizing you as an agent, you can't take anything personal, because like we said, the average is 8 weeks. And I know you guys can attest to this. If you get them week 1, you call them on the phone, it's the first, they just been on the market a couple days. Man, they're rude. They don't want to talk to you. You're a jerk. I can do it by myself. I don't need a real estate agent. That's why I did it for sale by owner, because I don't want to deal with you guys. And literally that same person on week 8 was like, oh, hey, Matt, it's great to talk to you again. Yeah, why don't you come on by and kind of show us a little more? I mean, you can see the change. And, like throughout by week 4, it's kind of like now they're more, yeah, well, kind of, yeah, what do you got? So you can't take it personally and just know that they're going through the for sale by owner process, right? And they're going to change. They're going to get nicer. They're going to need your help, especially if you keep providing more value. All right. So don't take that personal. And I've got some brand new agents that I've been working with lately. And, after 2 weeks, they're all like, well, I made the calls, and these people, they don't want to talk to me. They don't want to talk. And I was like, just keep calling back. Next week, just get a system, and we'll talk more about that system later. So let's talk about, finding them, right? So where do you find the for sale by owners? And luckily, technology, from when we got started, technology has come a long way. So first off, if you don't want to spend any money, right, you have more time than money, I'm going to say Zillow, right? We're all Zillow crushers. We don't like Zillow. As real estate agents, but man, that's great to find for sale by owner. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and just show you guys kind of how easy it is to find these on Zillow. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Find them and save them and get updated whenever a new one comes on.
Yeah. So here's Kansas City. Here's the Kansas City market. Can you guys all see that? Is that showing up now? Yeah. Now this is every home for sale in Kansas City, kind of. So go up here, though. I want you to go to the for sale. I already have it marked, okay? So you uncheck the buy agent, okay? So the only thing that's checked is buy owner. Uncheck the coming soon. Now, you can, if you want, on the potential listings, do the drop down, and you can do the make me moves. Now, what make me move is just people that threw their house up on the market and said, hey, if you pay me X, I will go ahead and move, right? They're usually a little overpriced, but I call these sometimes also for sale by owners. But just for this instance, so we just have all red dots out there, I'm going to unmark it. So as you see right now, if I go in, and this is the Kansas City area, there's 386 for sale by owners out there, okay? Come on, guys, you're telling me you can't list couple of those? I mean, think if you could just list, 1% of those. 1%. There's 3. And this is renewing about every month, right? So right there's 3 a month, just 1%. Then you can go in and you can zoom in into maybe an area that's, that you want to primarily stick to. Now look over here in results, okay? sort by, and you can do by newest. Okay, so I can see the for sale by owners that came on the market. That one 2 days ago. That one 2 days ago. 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Right. So you can go back as far as you want. Now, okay, let's find. Here's for sale by owner right here. Okay. Here's where you get the contact information. Go over here. You got the description. Scroll down. It's going to pop up with a bunch of real estate agents that pay a lot of money to be on Zillow, right? So here are the agents. And right there, property owner. Okay? So it gives you their phone number. Simple. All right? Now this, if you want to go in and research, now you can set this, you can actually go in and sign in Zillow and put this as a criteria. And guess what? Zillow will email you these every single day. They'll send you the emails of the new for sale by owners that hit the market in the criteria that you put, right? And then you just click on the link, find the owner's information. A lot of times when they email you, they won't, you got to go ahead and click on it because they try to sell their real estate agents. They want you to call those agents and not the homeowner, but the homeowner's right there. And there you go. So that's, stop sharing now. That's number one, right?
And pretty much every for sale by owner lists in Zillow. I mean, I would say the percentage is probably at least 99%. Where else are they going to post it? Because they don't have syndicated access, and Zillow is their way to get it out there.
Yep. So, okay, go back to turn screen share off. Okay, so that's number one. Okay. Number two is to pay for a system that goes in and scrapes this information for you, okay? I use currently, it's called the Red X. You can just go type it in, the Red X. I'll go ahead and post a link here for that can get you a free trial. After this, it'll take me just a minute after this to come back in, so watch the replay or whatever. But we'll have a link where you can go in and sign in for a free trial for the Red X. It's roughly anywhere from, if you're just doing for sale by owners, I think it's $79 a month. If you add on expireds, it adds a little more. If you do a dialer system included in the Red X, where then every week it just downloads those and you have a dialer where it just calls them automatically for you. I think I'm paying $160 a month for expired FSBO and the dialer, right? It's, you know, not that expensive. And it updates it, and it pulls from more than just Zillow. It will also go to Craigslist and pull for sale by owners, which is, again, a great place to find them. Going to Craigslist, again, takes a little more work. It takes time, but if you have more time than money right now, Craigslist, Zillow. My favorite of all time is Driving for Dollars. Okay, so why is this my favorite? Again, this takes more time than anything, but Driving for Dollars, and what that is go out any neighbor. I guarantee, wherever you're at right now, within a 1 mile radius, if you jump in your car and you start driving neighborhoods, I don't care if you're at your office right now or if you're at home right now or where you're at, you drive the neighborhood, drive it for 1 hour, up and down every street, you'll find 2 for sale by owners out there with sign in their yard, phone number on the sign. What I love about these is these are the ones that maybe have not advertised in Zillow yet on Craigslist. These are people who are getting their home ready to go onto the market. And as they were walking through Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, they walked down the aisle that had the for sale by owner signs, right? Looked over his wife's like, hey, $10 for a sign. Why don't we just try it? We're not ready to get on the market, but hey, what if we get it sold ahead of time? Great, right? A lot of times these people are going to list with the real estate agent. They don't really want to be for sale by owner. They don't even, but hey, the sign's here. It's $10, $12. Let's stick it in the yard and let's try it, right? So what I found is when we drive for dollars, these are some of the best for sale by owner, some of the easiest ones to list if they're not on Zillow, if they're not on Craigslist, you know, stuff like that. So any other places that you guys have found that you're finding the for sale by owners to add to your list?
No, I think Zillow probably has been my number one. Whenever I went out and did mine, I would hit Zillow really hard. And the other thing that you can do, guys, if some of you, I know a ton of people out there, a ton of agents out there that this is this here, there's 200 pounds, right? Nobody wants to pick up the phone because it's 200 pounds, right? So what I tell people is, and what I taught in my my classes with for sale by when I was teaching for sale by owner classes, is have a script that you can, because when you're in Zillow, can I share my screen real quick?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let me share my screen here.
Well,
so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, while you're sharing your screen, there are other for sale by owner sites in your state or in your city. It's just for sale by owner that people can load their houses. So I know there was one in Texas that I would use. So look up that as well. And sometimes owners will go to those sites to load because they're just trying to get as much exposure as possible besides Zillow. And then Matt, you mentioned RedX. There's Vulcan 7 does also for sale by owner. So those are just additional resources for people to look if they're interested in other places.
Yep.
So can you guys see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Hold on. Try it now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Popping up.
So again, in Zillow, you can obviously hit the get more information. Now, there's a couple of things here that's really, really, really important, guys. If you don't have this clicked right here and you have any of these clicked or don't click any of these, it's going to automatically default to one of these agents. Okay. So the last thing you want to do is to reach out to an agent rather than reaching out to the property owner. The other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to have this I want financing information clicked. Okay. So right here where it says I am interested in, I just take that out. Okay. And I was just doing this right before we got on here this morning. So I'll go ahead and click this in. And it says right here, hi, if I were to bring you a qualified buyer for your home, would you pay my company a commission for doing so? I look forward to hearing from you soon. Have a blessed day, Shannon. Okay. And then here on my number, I do not put in my cell number. Now, it's totally up to you if you want to do this, but there's different companies out there. There's a company out there called Burner, if you want to do that, where you can buy an actual line that you could call for sell by owner or FSBO. And so every time, every time it rings through on your phone, it rings through as FSBO. You know exactly how to answer the call. You're prepared for it. Okay. Our system, we have a system called KV Core. I have what we call a KV Core Smart number. That's the number that I use in here. Why? Because if I miss the call, it's going to automatically log that person as a lead in my system. So it's automatically going to, if I miss a call from this number right here and I don't answer it for some reason, my KV Core is actually going to go in and log them as a potential seller and set them up on a campaign and search cold data for information on them. So you don't have to reach out by phone if you don't want to. I mean, it is the best way. Obviously, driving for dollars is number one. Picking up the phone and calling them is number two. But if you want to just start the dialogue, guys, I mean, when I did my 37, 38 homes, whatever it was, this is how I did it. This is how I started the conversation. Because all I want them to do is respond back to me. And if they say, yes, they're willing to work with me, then great. Then I set up a time to preview the house. So I just kind of wanted to hit that. So some people, I know there's a lot of agents out there that don't, just don't like picking up the phone and calling people let's just be real.
And that's what Shannon taught me about 4 or 5 years. I think 5 years ago, he taught me to do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome. So I could actually sit and do that while I was making expired calls with Mojo. So I actually could do both at the same time because of being able to do it online. And they absolutely call you. And now some of them will call you and say, well, I'm not willing to pay you 3% commission, but I'll pay your company whatever. But they do call because they want to buy it.
Yeah. And that's it. So let's, I know we got about 10, 12 minutes here. Let's go into, the whole process. So we talked about mindset. We talked about where to find them. and some great. Now, what do we do with the information we have? So I'm going to start off, and this is probably all we'll get through today, and then we'll finish up everything next week. But what we're trying to do, all I want to do is get what I call a preview appointment, right? I'm not trying to sell them on the initial phone call. I'm not trying. I will never mention commission over the phone, right? I'll only do it in person. So what is that? I want to get a preview appointment to go meet with them. A preview appointment lasts literally 10 to the most 15 minutes. And all I'm doing is trying to get an appointment, get in front of them face to face, and build rapport. Okay, that's it. So what does it look like? So a couple things that I make as a goal for my team is how many for sale by owners we need to add to our database each week in order to make sure that we're listing one a week after 8 weeks. And that number is 10, right? I need to add 10 a week to our database. If I can add 10 a week and contact at least 80% of those, 8 of them a week, I can usually get about 5 previews a week, and then preview appointments to go out to their house. And then that'll eventually I'll end up listing approximately 1 a week, right? Now, if you have more than that, you can make those numbers bigger. Stick with this, though, and it'll be 1 a week. All right, all of a sudden I'm getting back. Anybody do something different with their computer? Because I got an echo also.
No, I just heard your echo, that's all.
Okay. All right, so 10 a week. So, I mean, and this has to be a number that you will hit no matter what. And when I talked about driving for dollars, when we pull them from our RedX or from our Zillow, if it comes to Thursday afternoon and I only have 6 new for sale by owners added to the database, I haven't hit 10 yet. Guess what? Thursday, all hands on deck. Guess what we're doing for lunch? We're driving for dollars, people. So we're going to go out and drive for dollars, and I want everybody to come back with 2 for sale by owners so we can hit that 10. So then it just goes to, we got to call them all and get a preview set up, right? Or they're calling us back because we're sending them the Zillow email that Shannon was talking to us, and they're calling us back. The whole point of the phone call is to get a preview set up. And here's what my phone call script sounds like. It's very simple. It's simply call them up. They answer the phone. Say, hello, I'm calling about 123 Main Street that you have for sale by owner. Is that property still available? Right? They'll say yes, no, whatever. Say, okay, great. They usually yes. Okay, great. Are you the owner? Yes, I am. Awesome. Okay. Well, my name's Matthew Graham. I'm with eXp Realty. I was wondering if I brought you a qualified buyer, would you be willing to pay a partial or reduced commission? Right? Boom. Very simple. That's it. And I'll get 1 of 3 answers usually, maybe sometimes 4. Usually it's, well, sure, yeah, we'll work with you. Yeah, you bring a buyer, yeah, no problem, we'll pay it. Or I'll get, well, what do you mean? What is a partial reduced commission? What are you talking about? And I'll say, okay, well, if I bring a buyer, usually as a buyer's agent, kind of standard out there, they'd pay 3%. Well, would you be willing to pay 3% if I brought you a qualified buyer? And they'll say, well, yes, no, or I've been getting this a lot this week. Was, well, we'll pay 2% or we'll pay 2.5%, right? Okay, great. You don't want to argue. You don't want to get into a commission dispute. Great. Okay. Or the third one I usually get is, well, do you have a buyer for my property? Right? And I'll be glad you asked. I'm not sure. I haven't seen your property yet. When can I come out and take a preview of it? Right? With all these, my next question, the only thing I'm going for is when can I come out and preview your property? Right? So if they say, yes, we'll pay 3%. Great. When can I come out and preview your property? I promise it will only take about 10 to 15 minutes. And what I'd like to do is come out and just look at it and make sure your property's features match my buyer's criteria, right? Well, why don't you bring your buyer out? Well, you know what? I'm actually working with a lot of buyers right now. So I'm not sure which one I haven't seen your house. I don't know which one's features are going to match the home's criteria, right? Or your features match the criteria. So, when can I come out? I promise you it won't take more than 10 to 15 minutes. I just need to look around real quick at the house, right? After that, it's usually, okay, well, you know, I'll set it up. I'll say, are evenings or daytimes better for you? And they'll say, oh, okay, evenings, okay. Does Tuesday or Thursday work better for you? All right, give them two choices on both those questions. Don't just say, what's good for you? Because then they don't know, right? Or they're going to give you a time that doesn't work for you, and then you're already being confrontational with them, right? Because you're like, well, that doesn't work for me, you know. So just, you know, daytime or evenings work better, and then, you know, if they say evenings, know which evenings you have open, or if they say daytime, know which days you have open to do your previews, and then just set it up. All right, simply that simple. And that's all you want to do. You want to get these previews set up. You know, I can usually do 8 to 10 a week, easy. It only takes a couple hours to do all 10, right? Because if they're truly 10 minutes, and we'll talk about what to do during the appointment next week, but, you know, during that, you're in and out in 10 minutes. You don't want to sit there and do a listing presentation on that first one. So, right. Shannon, is that kind of what you do?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. But there are coaches out there, guys, that will charge you an arm and a leg and teach you to go in and do a listing presentation. I know because I've seen it. Do not fall into that trap. If you try to walk in there and sell them on your services, your company, anything about you whatsoever, you're done. It's not about you. It's about them. Okay. Right. And if you don't remember that, well, that's it's going to hurt you.
Now, not to say, and it will happen, where you'll go in there for this, for the, you know, the preview, and they are ready to list. I'm not saying turn it down, but I'm also saying, you know, don't go in with that mindset, right? If they're ready to list, and if you don't have another appointment, see, I literally book these back to back to back. So when I go in and say, hey, I've got another appointment in 20 minutes, I promised you it will only be 10 to 15 minutes, I'm being truthful because I booked the next one right after that. If during the initial walkthrough they're ready to list, I mean, I'll go ahead and set another appointment for later that day or the next day. I mean, I'm not going to let them go, but I'm not going to talk about my listing stuff right there, right? So, and if you come in, yeah. So, and again, what you were saying, those people that go in and try to do that listing presentation, if that for sale by owner has had that happen, then they're already kind of reluctant when you open the door, when they open the door for you anyway. And that's why I will tell them right off the bat, as I promised over the phone, this will only take 10 to 15 minutes. You know, I've got another appointment in 20. And you can see, you know, just the weight lifted off their shoulders when you say that, because that last agent may have came in and, you know, said, you know, they were only going to be there, but then they tried to lift it, right?
And the reality of that is your words and your actions have to line up.
Exactly.
And when you say it's going to be a 10-minute appointment, it needs to be a 10-minute appointment, not a sales appointment that you're shoving your services down someone's throat, because, you know, who wants to do business with somebody they don't trust? Nobody.
Well, yeah. I mean, and you just lied. The first thing you did to him was lie, right? If you said, hey, I just want to come out and preview it, well, then you're previewing, right? If you try to shove stuff down their throat, then, you know, about how great you are, then you just, I mean, that's why we get the bad reputation right there, because, you know, you're doing something you said you wouldn't do, right? Right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're about done on time, so we will continue this next week, just, you know, about what actually to do for the appointment, and then the follow-up sequence to make sure you land the for sale by owners. So this week, everybody, go out, get in the habit of putting these into your database, of going in and looking them up on Zillow, or go ahead and click the link that we have here and get signed up for a free trial with RedX. It's either free or a discount. I can't remember. I'll double check with RedX the link that we have. But start working this process. You know, I do all my calls for sale by owners on Mondays and Thursdays, right? I only call them for about an hour and a half on Mondays and Thursdays. So, you know, kind of just get this system going right now. Anything else you guys want to add before we cut it off?
This is a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right.
Yep.
Yep. Build it into your calendar.
List the
Build it
last,
into your calendar.
right? The last man standing, like Shannon said. You have to stick with this. This is consistency, and this is where it pays off. You cannot, you will not come and go and list for sale by owners. Right.
And know that now it does happen quicker in a lot of cases, and I've coached hundreds of agents but you have to be able to go, okay, I'm going to do this for 8 weeks without expecting anything, because it's going to take 8 weeks. Sometimes it happens later. Sometimes it's on that 9th week, right? So you also can't give up on week 8. Follow this system, and you will start listing for sale by owners, and you will start listing. Then you build that pipeline, and then with the consistency, it's literally 1 or 2 a week. Then it just starts. Then you're like, okay. Then we'll talk about the other problems that come with taking a listing or 2 listings every single week, and then getting them sold, right? But right. We will see you all next week. Help you take your business and life to the next level. See you later.
Thanks, guys.